What up? What up? What up? We live on YouTube. I ain't did this YouTube live thing in a minute. We live here at Forgive My Brooklyn. Like and subscribe, share, tell a friend, tell a friend. We also live over at Battle Boy Media. Make sure y'all go over there and like and subscribe and share. Tell a friend, tell a friend. My brother Battle Boy gonna join me in a minute. We talking about recidivism today. And as soon as he said he coming right now, as soon as he get with us, we gonna talk about what's up with y'all, man. Like I said, it's been a minute. I know I gotta start doing this more often. I be on TikTok a lot. I gotta get back to my YouTube peoples. I'm trying to get my TikTok followers to come over here to YouTube, but it's difficult. People have they social media platforms that they want to deal with. Hold on, here go my brother right here. Let me let him in the the studio. What's happening?
Peace, brother.
Peace. What's going on?
And how you feeling?
I'm good, man. How you?
I'm good. I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. All right. Let me hook this up a little something. All right, bet. What's the vibe, bro?
So like I said, we on both pages, Battle Boy Media and Forgive My Brooklyn. Like, share, subscribe, all that, man.
Definitely a first time collab.
You got the wrist no ball, okay? I see you.
Definitely a first time collab. And we doing what it is that we do, man. Off here on, Forgive My Brooklyn and Battle Boy Media, man. We dripping in gems and pretty much just giving you guys, our take on our experiences that we actually been through. And how we were able to find, our light, through the darkest of times,
Yeah, absolutely.
For real, man. But based on a thumbnail that you guys see, we speaking on recidivism. And for those that's tapped in and part of me too, I just want to give them the definition of what recidivism is. And it's pretty much, a person that's, been convicted of a crime and actually got sentenced to do time and got released and finds himself or herself, going back into the system within a period of time, just, finding themselves going in and out, constantly going back and do time. And that's all it pretty much says right here when I Googled it. The tendency of a convicted criminal to re-offend, in a nutshell. Right. So I don't know what drove me or drove us to actually, pick this topic to actually go off of. I forget what it is that I was thinking on or what it is that we were speaking about, but for some reason we chose to stick with this topic and actually go with it. And sometimes, in the process, we got to take bad things and make jokes out of it.
Yeah. And it's related. I remember the other day we was talking about, I had made a quick video about dudes that don't recidivate, dudes that come home unsuccessful, and how people be mad at that. People be mad at dudes that come home and do good for themselves. They type a little video. Dudes is in my inbox. Oh, ain't nobody worried about you, jail dudes. I'm like, yeah, right. That's why you invite the Facebook page.
Dudes is actually worried about you, jail dudes. But as far as individuals that get sentenced to go do time, because I've noticed, like, throughout the time that I was sentenced to, which was 15 years, I was able to see guys come through the system, and throughout, the whole stay from me doing that sentence, I've seen guys go home, come back, go home, and come back 2 or 3 times. Repeatedly. And, the old timers that I was around, they always told me, about things like this that'll, you know, happened throughout the bid because, you know, obviously that I was going to be there for a long time or whatever the case. But when it actually happened, like I was just so shocked, stunned. Um, and of course, and I also felt bad as well too for myself. Like, yo, dang, like it feels and seems like I'm never gonna go home. You know, and of course these is younger homies that come, you know, to do prison time with about, you know, 3 years, ended up going to like a medium and end up, you know, getting their classification boosted to the point where they send them to a max or whatever the case may be. So, you know, for those that don't know like how the classification thing runs, of course they don't have guys that's doing like double digit time, you know, mixed with guys that's in like a medium facility unless unless you walk your time down and your classification drops to medium eligibility or whatever the case may be. But I'm not sure. Did you go through that experience from the time that you was away?
Absolutely. And when you run into a dude, it's always the same thing. They always hit you with the, "Oh, you back too?" And you like, "No, I'm still here."
Exactly, bro.
And they like, "You still here?" Yeah, you back. I'm still
Yo,
here. I never went nowhere.
exactly, bro.
I
Yo,
can't
it's
tell how many times I've been through that.
crazy.
Years go by, you see a dude, and you like, "Yo, what up?" You're like, "Yo, oh, you back?" "Nah, son, I'm not back. You back. You wildin'. Not letting me go. Not yet."
Yo, I think the first time that happened to me, right? I think I ended up seeing one of the homies, you know, that came behind the wall, and then I ended up seeing him again in a medium. So, you know, out of the 15, you know, we do 85% of that time, which is, you know, 12 years and like 10 months. So I must have seen him like 6, 7, 8 years later or so. So, you know, when he saw me or whatever, you already know like a dude that came back or whatever the case may be, because you know they look different. Dudes is a little smoked out, dudes is out there ripping and running, they drugging, whatever drug of their choice, alcohol, whatever the case may be. So they don't have that, you know,
Yeah.
that quote unquote prison glow. So when you see him, when I seen him, I'm
As
like,
soon as you see him, you know they've been in the streets.
facts. I'm like, yo, what up? But the way that he started carrying a convo with me was as if I was there too and chose to come back like him. And I'm just sitting there just yesing him, like, and he's telling me about songs that was out there. And remember, yo, when this song was out and what he was doing
Nah,
at
I
the
don't
time.
remember that.
He's waiting for me to chime in, but there's no chime in, bro.
I was in the box. I don't remember that. You was on the block and I was in the box. I don't remember that.
Up until the point where he asked, like, yo, homie, you not back on her? I'm like, nah, I'm not back. I never left, bro. And you can see the look of
And
shame on his
they
face,
never
bro.
give you the whole story. You always ask them what happened, and they be like, "Yo, it was some bullshit." Like I remember one time I ran into a dude, and I went down to court, and I
Yeah.
see a dude, and he was coming back through it. I'm like, "Yo, son, didn't you go home when we was up?" He like, "Yeah, nah, some bullshit. I had a fight." So we talked. So I'm like, "Yo, they locked you up for having a fight." So then as we talked, we fighting, and then I hit him, and then my gun dropped on the floor. I'm like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! You left that." That's why you back, because you had a
Yeah,
not because you had a fight. They
for
always
real.
minimize it. No, you went home and you just made bad decisions. It's just bottom line.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's you know, the second time around that it happened to me, like, I don't know, man. I just felt bad for myself. Like, even though I was walking my time down, I just felt bad. Like, damn, like I'm still here. Like, but I don't even really, now that I'm looking at it, it's like I wasn't feeling bad for myself. I was feeling bad for them. Like, yo, you guys are really taking freedom for granted. Like, you know, like, because where I met you guys at, you know, we was behind the wall, and you know, you guys done been around guys that have more time than I do. Them dudes ain't even make it to a medium. And here it is, you guys then went home, got released, did whatever y'all did, came back. I'm still on my first one, you guys, and it's like, dang, and automatically wisdom kicked in, like, that's not gonna be me.
And
I can't.
sometimes
I
right back,
can't.
I was in one medium. I was only in a medium for 10 months. I seen a dude go home and come back in 10 months. And I'm like,
And
how did you go to trial and go home, catch a new case, go to trial, blow again, and come back in 10 months, in less than 10 months?
he didn't even give himself a chance.
He just copped out an arraignment. Like, dude,
Wow.
this is
Wow.
and don't get me wrong, man. I get it. I feel like it's many reasons that people come back. I feel like a lot of dudes, myself included, we locked up. We have unrealistic expectations about what it's going to be when we
True.
get out.
True.
And I guess if you come home and you don't have no support and you don't know where to go get no support, then those unrealistic expectations can lead to you doing dumb shit and coming back to jail.
I agree.
But some dudes, I don't know. But I know dudes that planned on it. I've had a dude with 10 in tell me, "No, I'm going home to get this money." So like, I'm going home and I'm gonna do X, Y, Z, and you know, they get me, they get me. Like,
It's crazy. Let me ask you a question. Did you know what it is that you was gonna you wanted to do once you were released?
nah.
Yeah, me neither.
I knew I wasn't going back.
You knew that much, right?
I knew I was going to do whatever I had to do, and however it worked out, like I said, and it was rough. But I was like, nah, I'm not. I can't do this again. Now, after I did 14 joints, I was like, yo, this, I get it. I committed the crime. Okay, I got it. Yeah, made your point.
Word. I respect it.
I respect it. Back in there. So I was like, when I go home, I know I had things I want to do, things I want to, I wanted to, I started family, I had children and all that since I've been home. And I was like, whatever it takes, I can't come back and here. I see myself living through this again.
So you don't think, do you think that the guys and the women too, because this applies to them as well too, do you think that the guys or the ladies that go back and forth, do you think that they don't have that mind frame, like, I'm not gonna do this again? Like, I'm sure none of us want to come back, but then you got that figure of speech that actions speak louder than words. So it's like,
I mean, I know nobody plans on getting caught. So I don't mean nobody wakes up in the morning and is like, well, I can't say nobody. Nobody wakes up in the morning and like, I'm going to jail today. But people be so, I'm gonna speak on my brother Berto, may he rest in peace. I want to talk bad about him because he's passed. I saw Berto twice. Berto went home twice while I was up north. And he died in prison.
Wow.
On Rikers Island for, I think it was Rikers Island he died on, getting ready to go back up the third time. And some dudes, but in addiction, dudes is addicted to that fast money. And he just couldn't leave it alone. He got to the paper, definitely got to the bag every time he was in the streets. But that shit don't last.
Yeah.
And I don't know why dudes don't get it. That shit don't last.
Yeah. It doesn't last. And I'm thinking about, once I realized that I was actually, getting released, I'm like, now all of a sudden my thoughts was like, damn, my time flew fast. Like it wasn't real for the last 11, 12 joints.
I was telling somebody this recently, you know what? People say time flies when you locked up. It don't seem like it's that long, but that's because you're doing the same shit every day. So it's one long day.
Yep.
15-year long day. And that's how, and then you wake up one day and it's time to go. And you like,
yep.
Can't believe. I remember I was telling you recently when I first went up, I went to Elmira for reception in January '98, and they gave me my time computation sheet, and that shit CR date 2012. Yeah, I thought cars was gonna be flying by 2012. I'm like, yo, what is that? Like, it's gonna be Back to the Future by the time I get out.
Yo, you not lying. You're not lying.
I never remember it. And then they put that shit on my gate, and I looked at that. I was like, 2012? Are you kidding me? Like, that's forever. But you look up one day, and it's 2012.
Nah, no doubt.
I'm gonna go.
No doubt. I definitely I didn't know what I wanted to do when I came home either. Like, and of course, like you said, it was hard. Just adapting to regular society, being back in society, not thinking with a criminal mentality. Like, a lot of us that, left the streets at a younger age, um, you know, we was getting money the way that we knew it, the fast way, whether it was robbery, selling drugs, whatever the case may be. Um, so to come home to, like, having to deal with technology and applications and
The phones.
the
Just
phone,
the
just
phones.
the phones, just the phones alone.
Yo, I came home in 2011 and I was like, yo, they were showing me all these, I don't know which phone was out back then. I was like, I don't need all that. You plug it. I need a phone that make phone calls. I don't need to be doing all that. And my wife was like, no, you bugging. You need a smartphone. It was right after the Blackberries had went out. So
Yeah,
people had moved on to iPhones. And I
yeah,
remember a little bullshit phone. And what made me realize that I needed to stop fighting technology is I was looking for a job and I was getting these emails about jobs and I couldn't respond. I couldn't send my resume from my phone. I had to wait till I get home and then go on my computer. And I was like, damn, by the time that happened, 700 people have sent their resume already. I was like, you know
yep.
what? I give up. I gotta get a smartphone. I gotta get a smartphone.
Hmm. Hmm. It was definitely a lot of challenges, coming home, and I'm speaking on, the challenges that, well, we're speaking on the challenges that we had to go through in order to adapt to a normal way of living, coming from doing 10 plus years, and not really doing a comparison of those that come home and end up coming right back, or whatever the case may be, but just to say that we did whatever it took to make sure that we didn't go back,
You
regardless
gotta,
of
you gotta
how many
adapt.
obstacles we went through or how hard that it was.
Dudes don't want to adapt, and it's crazy because when you're in prison, you forced to adapt. You could be in one jail for 2, 3 years, and one day they be like, you out of here. They pack you up, take you to a whole new spot on the other
Just
side
like
of
that.
the state, on just like that. New people, new faces, and new correction officers, new stuff, and you gotta adapt. You don't have no choice but to figure it out.
No doubt.
And it's the same thing when you come home. It's rough, but you gotta adapt to everything. You gotta adapt to not having money all the time. My first job, I made $10 an hour. I think minimum wage was $8 back then, so I was making 10. I was balling. I was feeling myself, but that $10. That shit was no money. I'm paying my
Yeah.
little phone bill. That money was gone immediately. You can't. One of my big things, one of my big issues was people. The train was a problem. Yo, I used to be on the train pressing people. My wife was like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, you keep pushing me and stepping on my
Yeah,
toes.
you're
Like,
not
yo,
used to
these
people
dudes
in
not
invaded
paying
being
no
enclosed in your space. Yeah.
She like, yo, they don't even see you. I'm like, nah, he know what he did. He's like, no, you bugging.
That's always ready to tweak or something.
The train was an issue for me. Like that first job, when I came home, I worked at Fairway. My bro Ames got me a job at Fairway on 86th Street. And it's
Okay.
crazy. A lot of dudes there was on parole. And I'm getting that shit was like that. It's crazy because we used to be in the back in the freezer, niggas going in the freezer fighting. I'm like, yo, this shit is like chill. And
Like,
my supervisors be like, yo, so you got to calm down. Like, I get it. Pressing dudes, you can't be doing that. And it's an adjustment. You gotta realize
it is.
that
Yep.
you no longer in that environment. You can't respond to things the same way. You can't, interpret things the same way all the time. You guys, it ain't the same. You gotta adapt.
No doubt. You said a key word, adjusting. And a lot of the peoples that I've known that came home on parole, like I noticed, like the first thing that they tend to complain about is parole. But in order for you to get released, you have to, sign the terms of the post release, supervision, the rules and regulations that you'll have to abide by. So you're not getting released to anything new or unexpected that you didn't actually read up on or sign up on, unless you just sign the papers and just like, I want to go home, I want to go home. So it's like, that adjusting phase. And I think the way, society is, and it all depends on the individual's mind frame too. Like, you start seeing the girls out there, the women, whatever the case may be, you get a little bit unfocused. Now your PO is stressing you, or this, that, and the third. You knew you already signed up for 8 o'clock curfew, 7 o'clock curfew. Mine was 7.
Damn.
And I reported to parole every week for the remainder of the time that I was on parole.
The whole time?
I got no breaks.
Wow.
No
well,
breaks.
With parole, I used to tell. So for those of y'all who don't know if y'all watching, I'm a social worker. And I remember once I had a job one time where we literally used to go, it was in Queens at the Fortune Society. And we literally used to go get dudes from, what's that shit right there? The work used to be the work release joint. Queensboro. We used to literally go.
I went home from there.
Yeah, we used to get dudes from Queensboro, walk them back to the office, and I find my place to stay, stuff like that. And so I had a lot of dudes on parole, and they used to be stressing my appeal. And I'm like, yo, what? I asked dudes that nobody never gave me a good answer. What is parole stopping you from doing? And it's no, and it just, you just in your mind, parole is a problem. You got to get on parole. Parole is not stopping you from doing nothing.
Yep.
Doing positively, please. Yeah, it's a hassle. You got to go. I went for every week. I was on parole 3 years. I went every week for about 6 months. Then I went every 2 weeks. And if for the last year, I was like every 3 months. But it didn't stop nothing. I had the 9 o'clock curfew for a while. And one time I went outside. I came home like 9:30. I got off the elevator. My all of us was in the hallway. Because I thought I was on the chair.
Yeah, they pull up. They pulls up.
Yo, I thought I was going back to jail. He was like, calm down. I was like, no, listen, wait.
Yeah, we're not trying to do that. That's not something we're trying to do. That's not something we're trying to do.
People get it in their mind that, oh, I got to get off this parole. And I remember I said, why? What can't you do right now? Maybe
so they can rush and catch a new one.
Yeah.
That's all they want
to do as freely as you want to. And that's circumstantial. If you're not doing what you got to do, because I remember when I first started trying to move around, I was asking my parole. One time I was going somewhere. I think it was my man was getting married in Florida. And I talked to my parole officer about it. And I went down there to go see him. And he had me sitting in the waiting area for mad long. So then when he comes out, he see me, I'm like, yo, what's up? He like, yo, come. So he like, yo, what you doing here? I said, I came to get the travel pass. I told you I wanted to go to Florida. I was like, yo, you don't need no travel pass. Just don't get arrested while you down there. He was like, you're going to school, you doing what you got to do. I ain't got time to be worried about you. I got too many other things to talk about. So that's why dudes be like, they be stuck on. People really get stuck on, I got to get off parole. I got to get off parole. And getting off parole not hard. You just got to do what you got to do.
There you go. That's a fact. Or even with, dudes not preparing themselves for, the programs that you got to go to once you get released or whatever, depending on, your charge. If you was locked up for drugs, you're gonna have to take the substance abuse program or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, the ASAC.
Yeah, KSAT. If you was locked up for a violent charge, you're gonna have to take ART or whatever the case may be. So it's like those are things that you have to do to like give yourself just to make sure that they're not making a mistake by releasing you based off of the charges that you got, to make sure that you're reminded of the things that you're going to program for. So of course, we already know that they have their system set up for people that's finished doing time upon their release, right? But I think for those that continuously come back, like they look for so much of a reason to, make arguments or try to, combat parole or programs that you got to go to. Again, this is all stuff that you sign, before you actually got released. So that you had to do these things as well as curfew, the programs, et cetera, reporting a parole at certain times or whatever the case.
You know what I didn't realize I didn't realize this until I was home. And I try to do this all the time. Parole is a prison program. While you're on parole, you're still an inmate.
That's a fact.
Parole is a program like working in the mess hall. This prison program just allows you to be out in the street.
That's
And
it.
I didn't realize that until I seen a dude I knew. He had just did a violation, and he had got caught with a gun, and he gave him a ticket when he got up north with a pistol. And when he showed me the ticket, I'm reading it. You didn't know no better than shit. Read like he had the joint in the jail. And I'm like, yo, what is this? He like, yes, and you're still. He said, when you get up, you get caught with a gun. When you get back up north, you get a tier 3 for the weapon.
Oh, that's wild.
And that made me realize because you still owe them time. You're still there.
Oh yeah, got you.
Property.
Got you.
This program, like you get outside clearance. This is extended outside clearance, but you still a convict. You still have to abide. That's why you're not supposed to drink on parole. You're not supposed to do none of that because you still a convict. And dudes don't accept that.
That makes sense.
A little bit of streets in their system, and they be gone.
Let me ask you something, right? The individuals that go back and forth that you ended up seeing throughout your one stretch that you did, right? Why do you think they come back and forth? Like the amount of times that they came back and forth probably accumulated to that 15 that I did. Why do you think that's so? Why do you think for those that do a short amount of time end up coming back in a short span of time?
I mean, it could be various reasons. I think people lie to themselves and they convince themselves that they figured it out. Go home and I'm gonna do it better this time. And you might do it better.
For a short period of time.
Yeah, sometimes for a long period of time. It lasts long. Some lasts for years.
That's true.
But that's what they be looking for. I had a good run. I was out there 5 years, and I had a good run. As if you belong in jail. Like you was born here and they let you out and you ran around for 5 years and then you came back home. That's
it's funny that you say that because I had one of my boys when I was younger. Well, actually, he was my brother's boy. It's like he lived on Rikers Island, and for him to be home, and we hear that he's home, is like what? Like he's home? Like it's like prison was the streets was prison for him, and Rikers was home. The way that he stayed on Rikers Island, and it's like
I mean, I guess everybody have what they take because I was like in the 90s. Between the first time I went to Rikers Island was in 1990.
What?
Between 90
Damn.
and 94?
Yeah.
94, I ended up doing 6 months. I got 6 months and 5 years probation. I was on Rikers Island every other month. All my birth, my 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th birthday, I was on Rikers Island.
Wow.
But I'm in and out. In the summertime, I get locked up 2-3 times for this, but it was never that serious to me. I go for a couple of months, get in a couple of fights, boom, boom, I get out. It's no big deal. So I guess upstate is like that. When I did the 6 months, I was home. I remember I came home September 30th, 94, 26 days after my birthday. By October 15th, I was out of town.
ASAP.
I just did this, and I went out of town with a dude that I met. We had plans. When we get home, I'm like, yeah, I'm coming with you.
Find a quiet town and tie it down.
So but when I got up north, I was like, nah, this ain't the same shit. To me,
different.
I was like,
different.
I didn't need to do that whole 14 joints. I was good. I don't know why they made me do the whole thing, man.
Yeah.
Cross was just commented. Yeah, man. I don't know. I definitely didn't do 14. I was good. I get it. But
yeah.
It's not. When I was in the media, one of my bunkies, it was an old timer. We called him Papa Smurf. He had the big white beard. He was on his 23rd violation.
Wow,
He had a white beard. He was on his 23rd violation. And OG was ready to go at any moment. I got into some bullshit one night, and he seen me. I came in the room. I ain't gonna tell the story, but I came in the room. He seen me put two cans of mushroom in the sock. And he was like, "Yo, what up? We out of here?" And I was like, "OG, relax. Sit your old ass down. You're on your 23rd violation. You don't need to do nothing." He was like, "Nah, what up? Yeah, you know, I fuck with you. We out." I'm like, "No, we not out. Let's go talk to these dudes real quick and see what they want to do."
Wow. Do you think well, for a person like that had that many violations, do you think that they become desensitized to a point where they feel like, not verbally saying, but the actions is speaking, that they can only function in a controlled environment?
Some dudes I met, you never met nobody. I met dudes that function better in jail than they do in the street. Because you gotta think about it. We look at it from perspective in prison and how restrictive it was or whatever. But I don't care what's going on in prison, you ain't gotta pay for no food.
Rent free.
Clothes.
Rent free.
Yeah, it's rent free. It's a lot of things that we not looking at it from that perspective. We like, yo, you could keep that food and them clothes and the cell. But some people, that is a lot. They function better on the inside. They get so used to prison politics and the rules of the yard and all that. Because for the most part, those rules are stagnant. They don't change.
Yeah.
You don't do A, B, and C, and you'll be all right in any jail. In the street, it's a lot more changes and rules and stuff.
Bunch of elbow room in the street.
So a lot of I've met a few dudes where they just, and like I said, I heard dudes tell me, I had a dude, I can't remember his name. He was in NAP, and he was kind of brolic. And I remember I said something to him. He was like, "Yo, don't just say nothing, son. This is jail shit. I'm gonna go home and smoke some crack, and I'm gonna lose all of this." I'm like, "Yo, what?"
Damn.
He was like, "Nah, this is jail shit. I come up north, I get brolic. You know, shit ain't about nothing. But as soon as I get out, I'm gonna get to the pipe, I'm gonna get to the money, and I'll be back." And
that's crazy. He's probably one of those dudes Jadakiss was talking about, where he say he know dudes that go to jail just to get their teeth fixed. Like shit, you know. It's real.
Dudes
it's
function better. Like I said, they know those prison policies. They know those prison. They know what not to do, what not to say. They know what to do. Yeah, they don't know what to do in the street.
And you want to know? You know what? I think what you're saying is true, because you know, when you're in a controlled environment, like your day is planned out for you, hour by hour, day by day, month. Like it's the same old. And I think individuals that know how to get around certain things, and you duck a tier 3 here, duck a tier 2 there, like, you know, you jailing, so you doing things, you know, to keep your locker full, to get your locker right, or whatever the case may be, to get the bag, or whatever the case may be. Or some dudes may even, you know, start finding dudes attractive, or whatever the case may be, and start kicking game to a dude to get stuff. It's a different world where the rules is just different, and it bends for certain individuals, man. And it's like wow, bro. Like, so you tend to think that you're outsmarting the peoples that setting the rules in the environment that you're in, and then you come home trying to apply that same mentality in the street.
It sounds crazy.
And it's like no one.
That sounds crazy. But you don't have to make those certain decisions, like you said. Those decisions is made for you. It's nothing.
No doubt.
Dudes get comfortable in it.
No doubt.
They learn how to bid. Dudes learn how to bid, and they you know, they be all right. They got 15 pairs of sneakers under their bed and 100 soups and, you know, all that. They learn how to bid.
Yeah, you're right. With a 50 cans of Octo, 50 cans of calamari, Jack Mac lined up.
But can't call nobody. Can't get on the phone and call nobody. Nobody will accept their calls. They have for 10 years, but they bid. They know they didn't figure this thing out. And then when they go home, those same rules don't apply. It is not beneficial, so they don't know what to do.
So that'd be like the gray area for them where they start to glitch and tweak and panic.
and they dumb out and they come back.
Mm.
But they keep running. They get a couple of girls, whatever they do, they get out, take a couple of pictures. I seen dudes go home for pictures. So they could come back up north and some of the pictures so they could show the pictures. So, look what I was getting money in the town. So look. Yeah, but you got peace.
Oh man,
this is crazy, but it's reality.
It's a crazy, and I'm not. I guess I'm laughing now because I don't believe that I actually witnessed it. I'm not laughing at individuals or that think that way or maybe desensitized or gotta feel like they function in a controlled environment, but it's just like wow, like we really been through it, and a lot of those thoughts, it just never crossed our mind to just like not care anymore to the point where we're actually getting a pair of greens again and some state boots.
And dudes don't even realize how smart they are. Like I was talking about this with the other subject on people head. Dudes be mad. I don't understand why you mad about a dude that did 10 joints and come home and do it right for himself. Because obviously, like look, take both of us. You did what, 15? Then 14. I'm gonna do like Zit. They got a video. Shout out Netflix Zit. He had a video. They were showing. They got a video of some dude getting cut up north, and they was trying to say it was him. So he was like, "Look, I did 20 joints. Look, I ain't got no." I'm telling dudes, if I did 14 joints, you did 15. You see this? We ain't got no. We still got pretty smooth skin. You know what that means? That means we figured something out.
No doubt.
We figured out how to maneuver. There was a little bit of luck involved and some other things. We figured out how to maneuver in a natural environment and how to survive.
No doubt.
If I could figure that out, why would you be surprised if I could come home and figure this shit out?
True.
But dudes don't want to give themselves that much credit. Like I said, they be bidding, and they come home, they're like, you gotta adjust this. Like going from and that's the biggest change I can see, because going from jail to jail was one thing, but going from a max to a medium was bananas for me. I went, what year was that? I went from a medium in 06, I think. Yeah, so I had 8 years in it when I went to my first medium. It was like another world.
Yeah.
The rules didn't apply. The same rules didn't apply. Nothing. All the way people were talking to each other, the things they was doing, I was shell shocked. I was like,
yeah.
The second night, it got to the point where I remember the police, like my third or fourth night there, I was going to chow, and the police called me over the and he looked at my number on my shirt, and he was like, "Yo, you on a violation?" I said, "No." He said, "You've been locked up since 1998?" I said, "No, I've been locked up since 97. I came up north in 98. He was like, "Yo, when you come back, pack your shit and get out that door and go over there in the field." I was like, "Nah, I'm not next on the list." He said, "I ain't asked you who was next on the list. Get out that door for you kill one of them little dudes and go in the." I was like, "All right, well, you ain't got to argue right out," because it was different.
Yeah, it really was.
I adjusted. I was there for 10 months more. I'm not gonna say I adjusted. I ain't adjusted. I didn't adjust immediately. I was very, very fortunate to get out of there. But I would have adjusted.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna lie. First medium, like, it was weird for me. It was just weird. It was just weird. Once I seen like how open it was, I was like, wow. Like,
what was your first medium?
The free movement going from one side of the jail all the way to the other side. It's like, yo, damn, and going through the little tunnels. I'm like, yo, it can really go down, man. And you well, I got caught up. I ended up getting caught up, man. And but it was definitely a shock. But one of my observations now, me looking back at it right now, is like, the max from the medium, is preparing you for the streets, because the medium is the
Supposed to be, yeah.
the mindsets of the people that's actually in the streets, and
The
that's
street, yep.
how they giving it up.
That's
So it's like,
exactly.
I'm
They
looking
come
at
up,
them like
they
they are
fresh off the
marching.
street, and they don't care nothing about none of this.
They don't care about nothing. They don't care.
Yeah, no, I lost it. Yo, homie, I was in the media, and I remember my medium, I went all the way up. I was at Adirondack. So the police was on some board. I was bucking. I remember I jumped over we was in the mess hall. I stopped going to chow after this. And the dude had been talking shit about messages. And I didn't understand. I'm like, yo, why this dude don't come outside? Like he telling everybody he sees all this tough shit about me. And we went to chow, and I'm talking, he like, yo, ain't that such and such? And like the little railing, and I jumped over the railing to go get some. And the police was like, "Are you crazy? What's wrong with you?" And my man was like, "Yo, he don't know no better. He just came from behind the And they was like, "No, you can't do that." I'm like, "Nah, but son, right there, he had said he was gonna do such and such to me." They was like, "Yo, go back." Like, you can't go back. And the shit is crazy. I was getting in. But like you said, it's like the street. It was to me when I went to the medium, the respect level went down like 80%.
Facts, definitely.
And it'd be stupid shit, but it's big shit. Like I remember I got into a thing with a dude. They had a card room, and it was right. I was in a 2-man room with the old man, all the violation, and the card room was right across. And one day I went to go in my room, and my chair was gone. And I'm like, what the fuck's my chair? And I look in the card room, there's a dude in the card room sitting on my chair. I'm like, I know this nigga didn't come in my room and take my chair. So I'm like, yo, son, you went in my room and took my chair? And he like, nah, wasn't nobody in there. So I snatched the chair right from under his ass. He fell on the floor. So I'm like, yo, what you going? Don't go in my room. And he was just like, oh, you bugging, son. I'm not bugging. If something is missing in my room, you took it. Because why are you in there when I'm not? I don't even feel like that.
It's so crazy. That's probably the norm in the media.
They thought I was crazy.
And they looking at you like, yo, like, dang, bro, like you bugging right now.
They thought I was crazy, homie. This is how I got. It's the same way I got in that dorm. I got to them 2-man. It was only one spot in the jail with the 2-man rooms. Everybody wanted to go there. I got there mad quick because I kept getting into stupid shit. And the police was like, yo, go over there. Because it was like 5 of us in the jail with 90 numbers. They was like, go over there with the other, like, because you out. Yeah. And it was just this shit, but this shit was normal to these dudes. And I'm like, yo, what's wrong with y'all? It's just no respect. Just go in your shit. And I'm like, I gotta get out of here,
man. Yeah. I agree, man. Like it was an experience, man. And you know what? And this is definitely no glorifying or nothing, man. Like I could understand why, the old timers that I was around, behind the wall was like, I would rather be behind the wall, do my time behind the wall than go to a meeting. Or like once I got to a meeting, like I understood why. Once I started getting in I haven't gotten in so much trouble in my bid until I got into a medium. It's like I damn near wasn't guaranteed to come home the amount of trouble I was getting in.
I was only in the one medium 10 months. I got in more shit in 10 months than they When I went on a drive, when I told my wife, I remember I went on a visit, and I told my wife they was packing me up, and I was going back to Max. She literally tears. And I was like, yo, why? She was like, I thought I lost you. You've been bugging since you've been in this medium.
Wow, you serious?
And I was like, yo, what you talking about? She was like, yo, every other day you was in some bullshit.
Wow.
She was like, yo, you never was getting in that type of trouble. But yeah, shit happens here and there. But she was like, here it was constant. And she was like, eventually you was going to get in something serious with a new charge or something. And I was like, yo, that shit was crazy. You said that was the mentality of the streets. So I don't understand how the dudes that be there come out here to the streets and can't adjust. You just let these same crazy motherfuckers in the media. It's the same dudes. Why you can't adjust this one? It's just foolishness, man.
And you want to know what's so crazy? Like, I'm not gonna say DOCs is the best. It definitely isn't. But it's not like, there's not things that you could take advantage of. Like if you don't have a GED, mandatory, you're going to school. you don't have any trade under your joint. Like they putting you in one of those vocational classes, like
Mhm.
building maintenance, cabinetry, like automatically. So you're gonna learn some type of skill that you can utilize once you get in the streets. It's not like you're gonna just go in there and lay down and be in the yard smoking top and bud or sniffing dope all day. Like
Unless you
it's
want to,
not like
let's do it. But people, like you said, people don't realize that. My brother Blink, that passed a couple years ago, may he rest in peace. He did that. He was a
that. Yeah,
plumber.
rest in
He was
peace
an
to Blake.
electrician.
Yeah,
He learned that up north.
yeah.
That nigga he lived around the corner from me in Flatbush. He didn't know about no plumbing and no electricity. Before he went to jail, he got a 3 to 9. He did 6 joints and he learned how to be a plumber and an electrician. And he
No
came
doubt.
home and turned that shit into a career, his family a house, and a car, and all of that. Or for some
No
shit he
doubt.
learned.
No
Dudes
doubt.
think that's not possible. That's highly possible.
No doubt. And that also goes to show. And I said this on um one of my other episodes, man. Like they have a saying, when you going up north, man, is either you're gonna do the bid or the bid is gonna do you. You always have a choice, regardless of what it is that you're into. If you in a gangtivity, or you're neutral, or you end up being attracted to dudes, or you come up north being gay already. Like there's always trouble lingering in the air for any and everybody. We know that much.
If nothing else is available, it's trouble is available at all times.
That's a fact. Very, very. And there's always a spot in the shoe, man. There's always a spot in special housing, bro.
But that's what you gotta figure it out. Like again, we use us two for example. We both went up north. We both had affiliations from before we went up north.
Yeah,
Yet we managed to make it through the bid, double-digit bid, managed to come home, and ain't even looking back at that. That's not even an option.
at all.
People feel like, oh, if you do this, you do that, because that's what they used to say. They say, no gambling, stay away from the gangs,
And
um,
and and, and the gay activities.
yeah, and the gay activity. I
Yep.
know dudes that did all 3 of those and still get through and come home and be all right. It is what it is, man.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Let me ask you this. Do you think the colors, on the walls, inside the corridors, the colors on the tiers, the colors of the wall, the colors of the greens that we wear, do you think that plays on the psyche to like dull your senses or keep you in like a depressed state of mind? Like, do you think that plays on the psyche to, have the mind frame in a state of seeing it for 2 years, a year, to 3 to 15 to 20 years plays on the mind? Or once you actually get released and your mind is just set a certain kind of way based off of seeing those
Absolutely. People,
yeah.
nothing. That's one thing about these systems. Nothing is done haphazardly. It's no chance. All that shit is planned out, and that's one thing about these people. They plan in 50, 100 years in advance. They know exactly what they're doing. They know what colors to use. When I was locked up, I caught my case. One of my cases in Buffalo. When I was in the Erie County Holding Center, you could see. I forgot it was like a jail or whatever, and they painted. I remember they painted the walls like it was damn like a light pink, a dull pink.
Really?
What the fuck? And in the police, so they was like, that's to keep you motherfuckers calm. You animals, how you call you animals, whatever. It's to keep you calm.
Really?
Yeah. They think all that shit is thought. And that was thought planned out generations ago. And they've been working for the longest as they can. They know what they do. None of this shit is a mistake.
That's crazy.
They absolutely is. It's psychological warfare, man. My brother in Cozy said all the time, low intensity psychological warfare. Always say that. That's what they serious about.
And you want to know what's so crazy, man? Like, again, like reflecting back on it, like, we go to, thinking about individuals that we held to like a high regard that had a lot of time in, man. And then, one day, the right gay prisoner comes into the jail and it literally shifts the whole jail. Or you hear, an individual that has a lot of time in end up going somewhere else, and you end up hearing that, you know, they got into a relationship with another prisoner, and that's just what it is, man. You think that, like, you know, dudes begin to like lose hope, that end up having like the 25 to lives, the 20 to lives, 30 to lives, or whatever, and just be like, you know what, like, I ain't going nowhere anyway. Like,
Yeah, I believe,
you
and I
know,
believe it's designed to do that. And we both know a couple of dudes, I don't say their names. I know one dude in particular that he told me that he home. And I asked him, I ran into him on 25th Street. I'm like, son, why you wait all them years and then you go to Medium and now you getting involved in this? And he was like, I got locked up when I was 15, so I didn't think they was ever gonna let me go. He was like, I just wanted to experience it. I figured if I'm dying here, I gotta experience something. And this is it's no women, so this is what I gotta do. And then years later, he got out. But it's designed to do that. It's designed to break you down, man. Spiritually, mentally, physically, it's designed to break you down. And I honestly believe that they are amazed that it doesn't break us all down. That some of us go in there and get stronger, physically stronger, mentally stronger, emotionally stronger. And they don't understand how. They don't understand. That's why, like you said, the wrong dude comes to jail. Either he's got too much influence, whether it's negative or positive. They getting rid of him. You've seen that dudes come to jail, and some dudes come to jail, and they might come and start a gang war or whatever. And there's other dudes that come to jail that got a lot of time in, that run classes and all that. They be like, nah, he gotta go. He doing too much.
Yeah.
He getting the young dudes, oh, yo, y'all gotta go to school, y'all gotta do this, y'all gotta do that. They get rid of him. They find a way to set him up and get rid of him. Nah. Too much positivity. We need to keep them on the negative track.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think I seen it on different scales of like being like a security risk.
Yeah.
And wanting to get a dude out of here. Like one was, you know, when Crossroads came to the spot, and it's like dudes knew he was coming there before he got there, and like the whole jail just started like, you know, the homies is like, oh man, we out of here. Like, you know, and I heard of him, I just never met him at the time or whatever.
Ross, you came a long way. He watching, he in the comments, you came a long way.
even the homies
shout out to Cross, man.
It's like they was upset that he landed in a spot. And I'm like, damn, like y'all tight. They like, yo, man, and I'm like, yo, y'all are bugging. So, you know, I could understand, and I seen how, you know, the depths and all of them was moving. Like I paid attention to it, like how the depths and the sergeants was moving before they let him out of quarantine or whatever. Like, and I'm looking like, yo, damn, like this is really a big deal, like, you know. And then, you know, once Herman Bell came to the spot, shout to Herman Bell, shout to Crossroads too. That was like a shift in the jail as well too. Like a lot of talks was going around in the yard or whatever the case may be. So it's like, you know, those that know what's up when it comes to Herman Bell or whatever. Like, if anything happens to him with an officer, like the whole jail is liable to go, be ready to go. You know, like I can understand. I can understand how that goes when it comes to, you know, them just wanting to PK draft dudes just out of nowhere, or be a little bit nervous to let dudes in the population or whatever the case may be. But you know,
somebody told me Herman not doing well health wise. Just recently, I was talking to Herman. So
man,
wherever he at, man. So I can't remember who that was, but somebody told me he's not doing well health-wise.
Wow. Yeah, I just recently seen him in a picture with a few of the bros too, man. Definitely shout to Herman Bell, man. He's a fighter, man. So he gonna fight. We know that much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we know that much, man.
Shout out John Ace TV. He asked a question. Oh yeah, I forgot about it. I'm gonna ask you about this.
Yeah, man. What's going on with the chat? Shout out to everybody in the chat, man.
What you think about Stanley Richards being formally incarcerated, becoming the commissioner of New York City Department of Corrections? Did you see that? They gonna kill Mondani. He doing too much.
hey, hold up. Is he having the same position as what Brian Fisher had?
Yes. He made Stanley Richards the commissioner, man.
But yeah, shout to John.
Brian Fisher was the state for the city. He made Stanley, and I'm like, when I saw that, I remember I called Ball. I said, "Yo, Ball, you see this? They made Stanley." I said, Stanley got to hold the door open, man. He got to hold. We needed. I hope he hold the door open.
I'm not really familiar with him, but I definitely seen Ja Ace posted him, and mentioned that he know him personally or whatever the case may be.
He's been running Fortune Society for the last, I don't know how many.
Oh, really?
Years or 30, whatever. Yeah, that's what that is.
Oh, wow. Salutes to him then, man. Salutes to him.
I think he's gonna have to give up Fortune now. I don't think he can do both.
Of course.
But
he's gonna have a lot of tier 3s on his plate.
This is man.
A lot of time he's gonna have to get back.
That's why they don't like this man. This dude's formerly incarcerated dudes in position. And it's I don't know why people don't get it. They've been saying it forever. You could call it a cliche. Those closest to the problem, closest to the solution.
No doubt.
It's no getting. Oh, look, John ready. Ace TV said he already left. Who took over Fortune?
What's that name from the Bronx? That's next to I think he's next to the mayor, real close to the mayor. One of the rappers that was locked up, activists. It's down with the Black Lives Matter situation.
You talking about my son?
My son.
Yeah, he gave my son a position too. So I'm telling you, they mad at him, son.
Shout to Mike. Shout to Mike.
Incarcerated too. He did a bit.
Yo, definitely shout to my son, just off the strength of him coming from, that cloth and staying the course and walking his beat. Getting him to the point where he's at right now. Like, he wasn't moving the way that he was moving just to be doing it for whatever reasons anybody may think of, or whatever the case may be. Just salute to him for just staying the course, man, and being in the position that they wouldn't normally give us. And we all know, man, once you come from, like, a certain background, and especially doing a certain amount of time or whatever the case may be, the mind frame is definitely different, man. And I think those are things that's needed when it comes to, like, being in certain positions, certain offices or whatever, as opposed to just having people that just know the political aspect and want to be involved in communities or whatever, but really never really lived in a hood or really been around the communities. Like, my son, he comes from the community, he's from the hood.
Somebody trying to holler.
He put it in, so definitely salutes to him, man. Definitely salutes to him.
It's crazy. All of this is related to another little video, a short video I made recently. I got into a debate with a few dudes about us being a civilian, and I said, civilians are not made. And when I say civilian, for those who don't know, so people that was in the streets refer to people that have never been in the streets as civilians. So, like, the same rules don't apply to civilians. So I told dudes, like myself, I did 14 years. I choose to lead a civilian lifestyle for the rest of my life. However, I am not a civilian. Civilian rules do not apply to me. And dudes will argue down, you're a civilian. No. If you think you're a civilian and you're ready to start calling the police on dudes, that was in you the whole time. I don't care what nobody's saying. Dudes argue me down with that on TikTok. And I'm like, no, man, it's not the same. And a dude gonna tell me, oh, you come outside and your car is missing, you're not calling the police. That's not the same thing. Reporting my car stolen is not. I report my car stolen.
Oh, man.
He's just like, yo, dudes kill me. I tell this dude, like, I told the dude a story when one time back in the days I was out of town and I was in B-More, and me and my man was standing in two girls' house. We standing outside talking to them, and some dudes came out of nowhere, and they just started grabbing us. And I never saw a gun. I heard something that sounded like a gun cocking, and they took. I had a Sherlin, and he had on outside, and they took our coats and they ran off. And I looked at him, and I said, son, I need my coat. He said, yeah, me too. And we looked and we chased him. And we running chasing him. And while we chasing him, the police are chasing him. And they get it. So they grabbed one dude and they got to do it in the alleyway. And I'm like, they're like, yo, here we go. Yeah. So I'm looking and I'm like, nah, I don't know. Son. It's one of them, like, I don't know. I ain't see their faces. They goes in this and they pull my watch out. And the police knows my watch. It's a bullshit $100 watch, gold watch. But the police knows my watch. I'm on the block every day. And they search me every day and they see me with the watch on. So the police like, yo, this not your watch. I'm looking at the watch. I want my watch, man. I want my watch bad as a motherfucker. I'm like, nah, that's not my watch.
Oh man.
Well, yeah, he did me dirty, but I don't want to put him in jail. That's not my goal. And dudes argue me now, no, you a civilian now. No, I'm not. I live a civilian lifestyle. And in living a civilian lifestyle, I minimize, if not eliminate, putting myself in situations where the police need to be involved.
No doubt.
Gotta worry about nobody. I'm not running down on nobody. Ain't nobody running down on me. Well, gotta worry about all that.
No doubt.
If in the event that it does, I'm sorry. I might be wrong. I know how everybody feel about it. I'm not calling the police.
So you think based off of, or pardon me for cutting you off. You finished?
Mm-hmm.
You think that prisons and jails is needed to be built? Like there's people that actually belong in prisons?
That's a good question. It's people that belong somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know if the prisons that we have today are the correct places for them to be, but there are people I have met, and I'm sure you have in the 15 years you was up there. I have met dudes that do not need to be in society with other people. They need to be removed for whatever reason. History was they got mental health issues or it's drug induced or whatever. But I've met some dudes that I had to look at like, damn, son, like I don't know if you open because they mentality is animalistic.
Yeah.
And we all engaged in some savagery over the years.
Of course.
It's like you be like, really, son? That's all you see. Like that's it. And so I don't, like I said, I don't know if the way our prisons, any prison, it got to be a better way.
I don't know. I think I said this on my other platform too. I think I was watching something as far as like prisons. I think I don't know if they was in like the Netherlands or whatever the case may be, like, but their recidivism rate is just so low. I noticed that the colors that they see inside the prisons definitely not dull like the ones in New York State. The people that's doing time and the people that they interviewed that did time after they got home, like very successful coming from doing time and them being prepared to enter society. Like their whole way of running their prison system down to, the coloring of the walls, the coloring of, the greens that we wear over here is just so different from New York. And it's like they're not, the way that they have their system, it's not built for them to come back. Like I think one of the commissioners has spoke was like, yo, we don't want them to come back. So we want to make sure that we assess them with the necessary tools and education so they can be, functional individuals in society. We don't, and this is why our recidivism rate is low. And I was like, yo, wow, that's different.
I've never been in jail. I've been in jail outside of New York, but I never do no time outside of New York. But I imagine it's all real similar. The power dynamic, the control, the way they want to treat dudes, like we was both. And when we first got here, what was his name? David Miller, the super team. Yeah. And that was the quietest jail in the state. And his philosophy was, if you treat them like men, they act like men. And on the same side, if you treat them like animals, they act like animals. And it's like they don't get that. They don't care. They just want to be so much. In that jail, I spent 6 years in that jail. In that jail, I've had conversations with correctional officers where they would talk shit like, oh, yeah, y'all like this, and this jail is soft. And I remember asking them, Why you want to stop smiling? You think you ever worked in Clean? I'm asking you ever worked in Clean? You ever worked at Addison? They're like, no, you don't want to go there. I've been there.
Facts.
If I send me there tomorrow, I'm gonna have to deal with all of that. You don't want to go there. Your whole life gonna change if you go there. And they looking at me like, yeah, y'all here mad at us about nothing.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of other countries, they realize that. Again, if you put them in a cage, treat them and starve them, treat them like an animal, people act like animals.
Yeah. Take a stick and poke at you every now and again. You know, like, yeah. You're right.
You got dudes. I was listening again. I be in the gym in the morning. I be watching Zip. He's hilarious. He's talking about, dudes in DFY fighting over like facts and shit. That shit is crazy. I'm telling you, she thought I was bugging. When I first started going to Rikers Island, a lot of dudes, John H, you still in here? You remember this. First started going to the Fort in the 90s. They used to sell soft batch cookies in commissary. They had chocolate chip in C-74.
Wow.
They had chocolate chip and they had oatmeal raisin. The oatmeal raisin was always out of stock. So when they had oatmeal raisin, you had to be tough to hold on to some oatmeal raisin. Niggas would kill you for some oatmeal raisin. It was so crazy.
Yeah, that's how it was. I'm familiar with the soft batch from DFY being in Tryon. Like, that's why as soon as you said soft batch, I'm like, huh? Where they had that at, bro?
That shit used to be crazy. Like, dudes was really getting hurt, cut, and stabbed over oatmeal raisin cookies, man.
No doubt, man. And you want to know that's another thing. Like, when you go to prison, like the principles change. Your standards get lowered depending on the individual that you are. Like, like it's just, it's a different world. It's a roller coaster of a ride, man. If you don't have your mental together in order to, navigate your way through the bid, man, it could definitely be a scary thing. You could lose your life up there, physically, or end up staying there longer than you need to, or end up catching a life bid. Like it varies for different individuals, man. Like, so
anything is possible. You're not guaranteed to come home. Tell people that all the time.
That's a fact.
You gotta let me go one day. No, they don't. Who told you that? Who told you that?
That's a fact, man. That's a fact. I wanna know your feedback on this right here that I'm about to play, right?
Everybody talks about how prison hardens men, but nobody wants to talk about why that hardness melts the minute you hit the streets. You see, inside, pressure calibrates you. You eat on a schedule, you train daily, you read to escape, you think before you talk. Every decision has weight. There's a seriousness to survival. But the moment you're released, the world goes casual. There's comfort everywhere. There's distractions everywhere. No structure, no standards, no consequence. Freedom gives you options, and options weakens men who need pressure to function. In prison, you earn respect. In the streets, you chase validation. You see, inside, you're judged by discipline. Outside, you're judged by entertainment. And that's why so many men go backwards after their release. The wolf they woke up has nothing to hunt in freedom. Prison taught them how to survive, but the comeback culture will teach them how to live. The flex isn't becoming a savage behind the wall. The flex is staying disciplined once those walls are gone. Only a few understand that survival and success ain't the same skill set. That's American Felon TV. Watch the comeback. Everybody talks about how prison hard.
Now, for the most part, I agree with what I understand what he's saying. I don't think freedom softens you to that extent. Again, you adapt, adjust. You still, and a lot of dudes were living in not living a true. That wasn't them. That wasn't them.
That's true. That I agree with that.
And that wasn't them in jail. And sometimes they never really had an opportunity to be themselves. And when they do, it's completely different because you still who you. This morning, I made a little video this morning. I was on my way to work on the platform, and I made a video. I understand these young dudes they running around masked up, and they get this dude is the platform. He got his mask on, and he keep looking at me. So after a few minutes, I'm like, "Yo, son, you good? You all right?" And he like, what? I'm like, yo, pull your mask up. I can't see your face. I don't know why you're looking at me. I don't know if I did something to you. You know, like you're making me nervous.
Yeah.
In the morning, you're on the platform, and I need to see what he pull his face. And he like, I don't know you. I'm like, my bad, son. Like that. But so some things is never gonna change. But I get what he's saying, and I do agree. It's a lot. It's a big adjustment, man. It's a big.
It is.
15, 20 years in jail, and to come back out here to hold nothing is the same. The whole world changed.
Yeah.
To come back out here, the rules of engagement are very different.
And you stick out like a sore thumb. Like your body language is off, like because you just so used to being like on point, aware, head on swivel, like so your whole movement is like gelled out. You know what I'm saying? Like
you never lose some of that stuff. My wife know now we go in a restaurant to sit down and we got to sit down. I'm not sitting with my back to the door. She know that.
Nah, no doubt.
Like, now you sit over there. Yeah, I'm not sitting. I need to see everybody coming in and out of here.
Oh man,
never lose some of that. So, but I believe some dudes like they adapt those things out of necessity to survive in jail, and then sometimes it was so hard on them because that wasn't really in them. When they get out, they just and now they know what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
I agree for the most part. I agree with Son.
Nah, definitely. I agree with. Shout to American Felon TV too, man. Son is pretty much he's pretty dope, and I definitely like the jewels that he give up as far as like when it comes to felons or dudes that did time or whatever the case may be, and having them look at the reality of situations as opposed to living in like a fantasy world or whatever. Like you have a lot of people that had presence behind the wall, had a lot of influence, and come home and try to implement that same type of presence and influence on people that been out here, doing their thing or whatever the case may be. And it's like that's a big no-no.
That's huge. I'm glad you said that because that's a big thing. And we always we laugh at the correction officers, and we be like, oh, they only act like that because there wasn't nobody in school or there wasn't nobody. But a lot of dudes became famous up north for whatever reason. And when they get home, nobody cares about that. And they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to have those dudes that come to the jail and everybody's like, oh, they get home and nobody's paying no mind. They like, what is? I've seen it happen. I've seen dudes come home and do dunks. Like, what are you doing? So I'm wilding out. But they need that, they need that attention. They need, whether it's negative or positive, they need that. That's a big thing.
They need that attention for what though? Like, do you think that dudes are still going through like an identity crisis? Like they're not sure of themselves, or they're trying to relive a second childhood, or
it's validation. So even now in the street, a lot of dudes, all they talk about is, I got to get to the bag. The money is validation. It depends on what you feel. I'm all right. I'm not rich, but I'm not poor. I got my family. I'm good.
No doubt.
That's enough for me. I feel validated.
No doubt.
I feel validated. Any minute now, my daughter gonna get up. She can sleep for mad hours. And she can be creeping around the house looking for me and go come downstairs and say, "What are you doing? I'm good with that. I don't need $1 million. I like $1 million. Sure. If anybody got it for me, put it in the comment section. Dudes, so some dudes they wasn't able to get any type of validation in the streets and whatever, or they got it for some reasons, violence. People recognize them for violence. They get upstate, they became somebody's big homie or whatever. They around, they doing a violence, so people recognize them. People when they come around, they go, "Oh, that's such and such. Stay out of his way." Then they come home and nobody knows. Nobody knows about your reputation. Nobody cares because they not doing what you do.
Do you think is that a form of being desensitized or no?
I mean, I guess so. Yeah, they did. People it's crazy to say, but now that you mention it, it's like they desensitized to reality. Like real world doesn't function like that. And nobody, like I remember telling Boss, I remember me and Boss was up north talking, and Boss he home now, he got a doctorate, he's doing his number. And I remember I was like, you go home and say you married, your wife company having a company picnic, and they invite you to the company picnic, and y'all playing softball, whatever, you get a good hit, and when you round third base, her supervisor slap you on your ass. What you gonna do? And he looked at me, and I said, man, think about it. He don't want to sleep with you. This ain't that ain't up north. You just said that was a good hit. You gotta realize that this world that I'm in now, if you up north and I happen, you don't make it. He slapped you, turn around, you punch him in the face.
Yeah.
You do that in the street, your wife getting fired, she's never getting another job. You know, it's different. People, people have this warped sense of reality from being in jail for so long or in and out of jail so much, and they become almost like you said, desensitized to reality. Like they live in an alternate reality.
Do you think there will be a point where, you know, dudes that think like that would let that stuff go, like holding that presence that they had in a place that it really it doesn't matter, but the way that it's being held up is as if it's a badge of honor. Do you think that stuff will ever like fade out, or is it something that an individual needs, like you said, to be validated? They have to constantly be validated. Like I
think dudes need to see other things. So like in New York specifically, we don't hear about the successes. We only hear about this. They call
glad you brought that up.
Yeah, we only hear they promote dude that does 20 years, comes home, some crazy shit, and gets another 20 or 30 years. He's all over the newspaper. We don't hear about the dudes that come home and become upstanding members of their communities, our businesses, families, all that. You never hear about them. And it's millions.
That's a fact.
It's millions. You never hear about it. It's dudes that did 20, 30 years. Look, we just started talking about Stanley Richards. I think he did 10 years robbery.
No
he
doubt.
just graduated as the corrections commissioner in New York City. You don't hear about these dudes, man. You don't hear about you only hear about, and I think if dudes get to see that more often, it would result in just taking less validation from the other shit. Like the spot that I work at, when I worked at Fortune, I can't count how many times I was there and a dude walked in from like an end that just came whoever and seen me and was like, oh shit, too. Like, oh, Lee, you my chopper. Like, yo, and one dude was my bunkie when I first got to Nap. My bunkie, his name was Low. Shout out where you at, Low. He came in and he was bugging when he seen me. He was like, yo, he was in group. He like, yo, this dude right here, this is my bunkie for like 2 years. Listen, and he know what he talking about. He was mad hype. We just couldn't believe somebody had come from where we came from. Hey, but dudes need to see that.
No
dudes
doubt.
it's possible. And it's not always the same. Everybody don't have to do the same thing. I know dudes being successful in construction and I know a dude that was in Fishkill and got into the whole thing with the dog training and all that, and now he's a veterinarian technician.
No
and you know, it's open. It's millions of stories. They're gonna tell us about the two dudes that come home and kill something or rape something, and
No doubt.
people don't exist.
Yep. And that's crazy that you put it out there in that sense, because you know negativity is always going to get blasted through the airwaves on high, and you know you definitely going to hear the success stories in a whisper tone. So that's definitely something I want the peoples that's tapped in with us look forward to us, bringing those individuals and those success stories on the platform.
Yeah, I've been saying I was going to do it, but we definitely going to do it.
Not definitely, because I know a few. Messhall, shout out to Real Deal Fitness.
Off the top of my head, I could name 15 dudes. Just off the top of my head. 15
No
dudes
doubt.
that I talk to on a regular basis.
No
So if I
doubt.
can do that, that means it's countless dudes.
It can be done. And again, these dudes, you know, come from where it is that we came from. It's just that they put they mind on their grind and stood the course and you know, got to where it is that they got to, just like a Messhall, like his various avenues.
And not
you know,
only do we need to
that
tell those stories, but these people need to be celebrated in our
definitely,
community.
I
So
agree.
that dudes can see that you can get the validation that you seek, you can get it this way too.
No
You don't
doubt.
gotta go around busting their heads for people to look up to you. You can do this and be successful over here and get that same validation. You definitely need that. That's
Nah,
something.
no doubt. Yeah, you don't, and to add on to what you said, you don't have to talk about or keep pressing on, you know, the 10 years you did in the box or how much of your brown brothers that you done poked up and stabbed up and cut and all that stuff. Like, you know, that was a time for that time. Like, you know, these are different times, man. Like, you know, the mentality I feel needs to change and break. Because you know, we all great and unique in our own way, and we all have different strengths in different areas, man. And a lot of us, I feel, we don't tap into that potential within. Even myself, you know, I'm not speaking in a tone or in a manner of pointing a finger at dudes or whatever it is, because I am dudes. I'm a part of you guys as well too. It's just that, you know, again, we looking for a solution for a major problem that we see. You think what I'm saying? Like, we just problem solving, man. That's all that we doing it, and just giving it up from our experiences and peoples that been through what it is that we've been through and happen to, like, you know, progress and be successful by doing different things. You know what I'm saying? Other than what's being considered the norm of what it is that we see and hear on a daily, you know? Word.
Yo, I hate to. I didn't even realize it's 11:23.
Now we done. We
And I
good.
gotta get up at 4:30.
We good.
For more of my civilian shit, I gotta make snacks for my kids in the morning.
No doubt.
So it's a pleasure. We got to do this more often.
We will.
Anybody that's listening, we gonna get that together. If you know somebody, if you yourself, you spend some time in prison and you want to come up and talk about what you're doing now, that's positive. We welcome you. Either one of our platforms, to both of the platforms. Again, Forgive My Brooklyn, Battle Boy Media. Like, share, subscribe.
No doubt.
All right.
Catch y'all on the next
one. Catch you on the rebound, man. Peace.
Salute.
Salute.